What's up guys? Today I will be showing you how to build two different motorcycles, one being simpler and the other being a little more advanced. On screen you should see pictures of each of the motorcycles with the corresponding timestamps, so you can go ahead and skip to those parts in the video of whichever motorcycle tutorial you want to watch, or you can watch both of them. Alright, now let's get started. Alright, so first you're going to go to the gears section, go to ballast blocks, then select the ballast block. Place it about 2 blocks off the ground, so you're going to delete these 2 blocks so it's floating up here. Then you're going to go in the same section, the gears, you're going to scroll down to the gyro. You just want it to be oriented upwards like this. It doesn't really matter which way the arrow is pointing as long as it's facing, or as long as this is right side up. Place it in front of the ballast. Then scroll back up, go to motors, motor 2, rotate it so that the peg is facing upwards and the plate is facing forwards, just like this. Then you're going to want to configure this motor 2 and give it these settings: A backward, D forward, speed 3, torque to 1000, max angle 30, and tolerance 3 with servo turned on. And make sure you turn on this button first, otherwise if you put in all these settings and turn on servo, it resets some of them. Alright, once you have that, go ahead and go to the blocks section, half blocks, half block, rotate it like so, and place it right next to the motor 2. Then select we'll scroll down a little bit, half wedge up, rotate it so it's facing outwards like so, and then place 2 of them right here. So we have a nice little section here. Then go to the wedges section, select the half wedge, rotate it so it's on its side like this, place it on top of here, on top of the half block. Then go to blocks, select block, place one on top of that wedge, and then behind the wedge here, and then in this corner here. So we have this nice little shape here, 3 blocks and a wedge. Then while we're at it, let's go ahead and set our paint tool to 50-50-50 to get this dark, basically a black color, and go ahead and paint everything we have so far, just so for the upcoming blocks it's easier to see what we're doing. Alright, then go to the gears section, go to compression, select the compress block, rotate it like so, and place one here, placeholder there, and then another right there, and delete the middle one. Then we're going to configure both of these to have the same settings. Negative 0.5 is good, turn off can collide, turn on transparent. Then you can copy that, close out, and paste it into the other one. So both compress blocks should have these settings here. Next, go to blocks, scroll down to cylinders, scroll down to the rod, place it in between these two. Then come around here, go to half blocks, select half block, rotate it like so, place it right here next to this compress block, and go to blocks, block, and place a block next to that half block, just like that. Then you can go ahead and select half blocks, half wedge 2, then rotate it on an angle like so, so you have that little wider end on the side here, and you're going to want to place that on top of this block here. Then go back to blocks and place a regular block right there. Then you can go ahead and paint these 4 blocks along with all these compressed blocks and the rod inside there. Then you can go to the gear section, compression, and we're going to place a few more compressed blocks. One right on top of this block right here, another one on top of it, upside down. Give them both those same settings from earlier. G, negative 0.5, transparent on, can collide off, powered on. Same for the other one. Then you can close out of that. And then we're going to use a angle lock block, rotate it so that the white part is on the bottom and so that it can bend this way. so that little gray part is going sideways. Then you're going to want to configure that angle block with these settings. G, -50, powered on, can collide on, transparent off. Then you're going to want to go to motors, motor 2, rotate the motor so that its peg is facing downwards and its flat end is facing backwards. Then place a suspension piece in front of that. Then you're going to want to configure that motor 2 with these settings. Hit servo, then A, D, speed 3, max torque 1000, max angle 20, tolerance 5. Go ahead and close out of that. Then we're going to swing around to this side, go to compression, compression block, place it right there, and configure it to have 0 distance and can collide off, transparent on. So essentially this compressed block will just turn into an invisible block that doesn't actually do anything besides attach parts. Then go ahead to the block section, cylinders, rod, and place it in front of that compressed block. Then go to the gear section again, motors, regular motor, and face it inwards like so. Then you're going to want to configure that motor to have these settings: S backward, W forward, 40 speed, and max torque all the way up with all these settings. These should all be default though. Then go to blocks, cylinders, cylinder 3x3, and place it right in front of that motor you just placed. And that will be our wheel. Alright, now you can go ahead and paint all of those blocks you just placed, like so. And then you can go ahead, go to blocks, half blocks, half block, and place it so it's upside down, like so. Then go to blocks, block, right next to that half block, and then block 1 times 0.09, and this you have to be very careful with, as this is important because we don't want it to get stuck on this compressed block here. But if you look really closely, you can see there's that little gap between the block and the floor. That's the 0.09, or the 0.1 that's missing. So you want that on the bottom, and then place it right above that compressed block. So if you look closely, this is how you can check if you did it right. And let me paint this just so you can see. There's that little slit between the compressed block and the block, and that is what you want. Alright, next, you're going to want to go to the gear section, compression, angle lock, rotate it like so. So the white part's here and this is flat. Then you're going to want to configure that with these settings here. G, and honestly this setting doesn't matter what it is because you're never going to need to press it, but set it to whatever you want. Angle 20, powered on, can collide on, and transparent off. Then go to suspension, click it, place it in front of that angle lock, and then configure it with these settings here. 75 dampening, stiffness 20, free length 4, coils 4. This one doesn't matter as much, this is more up to your own decision, and thickness 0.5, which is also up to your own decision. And then length limit on. Then open up your tools, go to blocks, and go to half blocks and half wedge. Then rotate it like so, and place it right on that spring block. Then go to cylinders, select the rod at the very bottom, rotate it so it's on its side, and place it right in front of that half wedge. Then go to gears, motors, motor, rotate it so that it's on its side pointing inward, and configure it with these settings here. W backward, S forward, 40 speed, max torque 1000, powered on. Now later on you can change the speed of this motor here and the front motor up here, but I would be careful with it, as I've, in my own testing around 50, the handling of the motorcycle can get a little bit strange. So I like to keep it around 40, but you can set it to whatever you want. Now go to blocks, cylinders, cylinder 3x3, rotate it like so, and place it in front of the motor, just like that. Now, since we have both of our wheels, we can go ahead and go to materials, materials, select fabric, close out of that, paint both of the wheels to be fabric, and then go back to materials, change it back to default so our material is all good again. Then go ahead and paint everything you just placed black, like so. Then let's go ahead, go to wedges, half wedge, rotate it like so, place it above the angle lock like that, then go to half blocks, half block, place it just like that, and then select half wedge down, have it rotated just like that, place it right behind the half block, then scroll down a little bit, half wedge down 1 by 2, rotate it like so, so it faces forwards, and place it on top of these 2 blocks here, like that. Then go to wedges, half wedge, rotate it so it points forwards, and then place it on top of that half wedge down right there. Then go back to half blocks, half wedge, rotate it so it's upside down, like that, and place it on the very back of that block there. Then you can go ahead and paint all of that black, like so. Go ahead and place your main pilot seat right there in front of this wedge here. And then you can also paint that black too. Then go to blocks, wedges, half wedge, rotate it so it's facing backwards, place it right in front of the main pilot seat, and go to wedges 2, round wedge out, rotate it like that, place it right in front of that wedge you just placed, then go to wedges, half wedge, rotate it so that it's on its side like this, and place it right there, like that. Then go to half blocks, half wedge up, rotate it so that it's right side up and facing backwards, and then place it right in there. Then we're going to rotate it again, if I can get the rotation right, just like that. So you should have something that looks kind of like that. Then go ahead and paint that all black. Then go to half blocks, half block wedge, and rotate it so that it fits right on the front of that piece there. Then go to wedges, normal wedge, which is right there, and place it right next to that wedge there, just like that. Then go to half blocks, half wedge down, rotate it so it's right side up, and place it right on the front of that block there. Then select half wedge 2 and place that right on top. Then go to half blocks, half wedge, rotate it so it's upside down but facing forwards, and place that on either side of that block there. Then go ahead and paint that all black, just like so. Then we're going to do something very similar on this side. So select your half block wedge, rotate it so that it fits in right there, like that. Then half wedge up, right there, rotate it so it looks just like this, and place it right there. So it should be a mirror image of the other side. And then go to wedges, half wedge, rotate it just like that, and place it right there. And then go ahead and paint that all black. So it should look something like this. Alright, so now we're basically going to mirror over what we have on this side here to this side. So go to half blocks, half block, place one right on the side of that motor there. Then scroll down to half wedge up, rotate it so that it faces outwards but is upside down, and then place 2 in a row just like that. Then go to wedges, half wedge, rotate it so that's on its side, and then place it right there. Then go to blocks, block, and place a block right there, block right there, and then we want a half block right there. And go ahead and paint all of that black. Alright, then go ahead and place a block right there, and then go to half blocks, half wedge 2, rotate it so the little bit the wider bit is sticking out like that, and place it right on top. Then go ahead and paint all of these blocks black, like so. Then go ahead and run around to the front, go to the gear section, compression, compress block, and then place them like so, so they connect to this compress block here, and this little wedge right here. Then configure this compress block to have these settings. Set this to whatever, it doesn't matter as long as you don't press it. Negative 0.25, transparent on, can collide off, powered on. Then for the other motor, you want to have these settings. Set this to whatever button that you won't press, negative 0.5, transparent, can collide off, powered on. Just like that. And then paint it black. Then you're going to want to configure the gyro in here. Put in these settings. Just set these two to keys you won't press. They don't really matter, as you won't be ever needing them while driving this. P 1000, max angle 90, strength 100, damping 500, powered on, fixed rotation off, apply at center off. Then go to the ballast and set that all the way up to 10. Then we want to set the rotation of this gyro. So we only want it to correct the tilting motion. So we're going to turn off everything but the buttons that are right on the side here, which you can't see at the moment, but they are right there and there. So basically click on these corner ones and these rear ones. So only these side ones should be active. Now for mine, it is a little misleading as the side ones are on even though you can't see them. So right now they're on. If I click, it's off. Click again, it's on. So it may be different for you, I'm not sure, but you can easily check by either picking one of them and then spawning the vehicle, pressing A or D, and if your vehicle falls over, then you did it wrong. If it doesn't, and you can drive around without issues, then you probably did it right. Alright, so next you're going to want to go to cylinders, go to rod, and place a rod right there. And then go ahead and set your paint to 150, 150, 150, like that. And then paint the rod. Now, that is it for the parts. We can go ahead and apply materials to this whole thing, materials and paint. So go to materials, materials, carbon fiber, and then use the bucket to apply it to the whole thing. Now, uncheck that check mark, go back to materials, select fabric, paint the two wheels again so they have the correct fabric material. Then go back to materials, select legacy glass, select these two small wedges in front, and then switch to default, paint this piece right here, and then come back to the front, go to materials, glass, and then select this piece here to paint it just like that. And then actually you can see there's this little problem here with this block here. It still has a bit of the carbon fiber on it. You're just going to want to go to default, paint both of these as default, and then paint them as legacy glass, like so. Then go back to your normal paint tool, select white, and paint all of these glass pieces white. And swing around back, go to materials, default, and paint this piece default, and then color it with red, but modified to be 200. So 200, 00. Paint that. Then come around to the front, and you're going to type in, you can start with clicking on yellow and switch this to 215, so 255, 215, 0, which will give us a gold color. Paint this piece, then go to materials, material, metal, and then click on it, and then also click on this piece back here with the metal. Then you can go ahead and type in 150, 150, 150, and paint each of these motors the motor for the front wheel and the motor for the back wheel. Then we need to configure this front suspension with these settings: damping 100, stiffness 80, free length 5, and then coils and thickness don't really matter, but I put 4 and 0.5, and then length limit on. And with that, you have your simple motorcycle. If you would like to continue and build the more advanced motorcycle, continue watching. Alright, so now I will be showing you how to build the advanced version of the motorcycle. So first, place 2 blocks like that, and then go to cylinders, select cylinder 3x3, place it on there, then delete the 2 blocks, then go back to cylinders, select plate cylinder, and place one on each side of the cylinder like that. And then let's go ahead and paint that black so it is easier to see. So it should look like this. Then go to the gear section, go to compress blocks, select the compress block, and then press this little icon here so you change all of the settings of all the compress blocks we'll be placing and set them to can collide off, transparent on, and all these other settings are fine. Then we want to have a compress block just like that, then have them alternating, coming over in this direction. Then have one come off of there like that, and then you want to go to motors, motor, place one just like that, and configure it with these settings: W backward, S forward, speed 50, max torque 1000, and these default settings here. And then let's paint that green for now. Then go back to compressed blocks, and then you can just copy what you had from the other compressed blocks and paste it into the settings for the next few we will place. Then go ahead, select compressed block, place one here, and then place 2 more and get rid of the middle one. Then we can copy what we had from one of the other compressed blocks and paste it into this one, but change this to -0.25. Then copy that and paste it into the one above it. Then go to blocks, cylinders, rod, and place a rod in between like so. Then go to the gears, suspension, and place a piece of suspension like so. Then configure this suspension with these settings: damping 75, stiffness 20, free length 3, coils, this can be whatever, and thickness can be whatever you want it to be, but I did 4 and 0.5, and then length limit on. Then go to compression, angle lock, and place the angle lock so it is oriented like that. Then configure the angle lock with these settings. This key doesn't matter, but set the angle to 70, powered on, can collide on, transparent off. Then go back to one of these blocks, compress blocks over here, copy their settings, and then go to compress blocks, set the settings, and then place 2 up there like so. Then go ahead and place 2 more, and then 2 more, just like that. Then come over to this side, place 2 there, 2 right there, and then an additional one on the end. Then go to blocks, half wedge down, half wedge up 1x2, rotate it just like that, and then place one sideways just as a placeholder, and then place the real one just like that, and then get rid of that one. So you want this sort of configuration. Then go ahead and select compress blocks, place one like that and another like that, and then for these, set their settings to 0, can collide off, transparent on, copy that, paste it to the other one. So essentially these two will do nothing, except they will just act as invisible blocks that hold the motorcycle together. Then go to blocks, half blocks, select the half block, rotate it so it's upside down, and then place it right next to that compress block right there. Then go back to compress blocks, and then place one upside down right there, and then configure it to have these settings, which are just the default settings: -0.5, transparent off, can collide on, powered on, and this key can be whatever you want. Then go to blocks, half wedge, and place one just like that. Then go to gears, compression, compress block, and configure it to have these settings. Then stack them up on top like so, and then go ahead, go to the light bulb section, main pilot seat, rotate it so it's upright, and place it right there, so it's attached to that compressed block right there. Then go to blocks, wedges, half wedge, rotate it so it's facing forwards, and place it right there. Then go to half blocks, half wedge up, flip it upside down, make it face forwards, place it in front of that wedge, then go back to wedges, half wedge, rotate it so it faces backwards, and then place it right on top of this compressor here in line with all these pieces. So far your build should look like this, with 4 compressors here, pieces here, coming up like this, and then extending out in either direction like so. Alright, so next you're going to go to wedges 2, round wedge out, rotate it like so, and then place it in front of this block here. Then go to gears, compression block, and paste in these settings, and then stack them one on top of the other, just like that. Then go to blocks, half wedge down, rotate it upside down and facing backwards, and then place it right in there. Then go to blocks, plate, rotate it so it's right side up, and then place it on top, then rotate it on its side, and then its other side, and place it just like that. Then you're going to want to grab a compression block, set it to have the settings here, and then place them in chain like so. And then this one faces downwards. Then go to blocks, cylinders, rod, rotate it so it's vertical, place it right there, then go to balls, tiny half ball, flip it upside down, and place it right underneath the rod. So that's what it should look like now. Then you're going to go over here, go to half block, and place it right on the side there in line with those compression blocks, and then the same thing on the other side right there. Then go to half blocks again, half wedge down, rotate it so it's on its side, and place it right there, then flip it, and same thing on the other side, just like that. Then go to the gear section, compression block, same settings as before, and then place it so that it's upside down, starting right there, then another, and then go to motors, motor 2, place it so that the peg is facing upwards and the plate is facing that direction. And then give it these settings here: A backward, D forward, 3 speed, 100 max torque, max angle 30, tolerance 3, servo on. Toggle off, invert it off. Then scroll down, select gyro, rotate it so it's right side up, place it right there, configure it to have these settings. These 2 buttons don't matter as long as they're set to something that you won't press. P1000, max angle 90, strength 100, damping 500, powered on, fixed rotation off, applied center off. Then on the gyro, go ahead and click the corner and the back side. This back side, this color may be red or blue. whatever it is, click it. It just matters that it's the back one and not the right one. You want this one on and these two off. So the gyro only corrects motion in the tilting side-to-side direction. Then go back to the gear section, scroll up to ballast blocks, ballast block, place it right there, and then configure it to be 10, or the maximum. Then go ahead and go to compression block, set it to these same settings we've been using, flip it on its side, place it underneath the motor 2 like that, place another one, another one, another one, another one on top, creating this chain here, and then 2 more like so, and then configure this outer compression block to have negative 0.43 for the distance instead. This is what creates a gap that is just the right size for the suspension to travel when it hits the ground. Otherwise it will probably get stuck. Then go to blocks, half block, place it on the side, just like that. Wedges, half wedge, flip it on its side, place it on top. Then go to blocks, block, place that on top. Then half block, rotate it like so, place it right there. Then go to half wedge up, rotate it so it's upside down, place it right there and right there. And then go to wedges, half wedge, rotate it like so, place it right there. Then go to half blocks, half wedge 2, place it right there. Then go to half blocks again, half wedge, rotate it like so, place it right there. And then go to wing panels, delta wing 1 by 1, rotate it like so, place it right there. And then go to blocks, half wedge up, rotate it like so, place it right there. So you should have this little section of the motorcycle right here. Next, go to compression block, give it these settings, and then place them in a chain like so. And 2 more, 2 more, 2 more, and for now let's paint this last one yellow. So you should have 4, 2, 2, 2, and then configure this one to be 0. Then go ahead and place 2 more of these compressor blocks with these settings right here and here, and then place a compressor block right there, one going sideways, and then one facing forwards, another facing forwards. And then configure this middle one to have this setting of 0.14. Then go to wings, delta wing 1 by 1, rotate it so it faces forwards, place them on the front of each of those compressed blocks. Then go to the gear section, compressors, compress block, put in these regular settings we've been using, place 2 like that, and then 1, 2, 3, just like that. And then 1 sideways, we're going to paint that yellow, configure it to be 0. Then go to compression, compress block, paste in the normal settings, then place 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, then 1 going backwards like so, and then 1 going up just like that. Then we're going to just paint this one blue as a reference. and then we're going to configure this to be negative 0.43. This will be doing a similar job to this motor over here, where it will have a slightly different offset to create a gap for the suspension. Then we're going to copy that same settings we were using for most of the compression blocks. Select compress block, paste those settings, and place 2 coming out of it like so. Then let's jump back here and place a motor or a compress block like so. Configure it to have these settings of 0.14. Then place 2 on one on either side, and then configure those to have the regular settings. Then place a compress block on either side facing downwards, having the normal settings. Then go to wing panels, delta wing 1x2, rotate it so that it's upside down like this, and place one here, right there, and then one over here, like so. Then come around to the front here, go to blocks, half blocks, and then half block wedge, rotate it like so, so it fits right there, and then flip it around. Same thing on the other side, just like that. And go to half blocks again, half wedge up, rotate it like so, and place it right there. And then scroll up, click half wedge, rotate it like so, and place it right on top. Then click half wedge 2, and put it right there, so it smoothly fits in just like that. Then copy those same settings that we've been using for the compress blocks from any of the other compress blocks. Gears, compression, compress blocks, put those settings in, place one right there, one there, 2 more, and then 2 coming out like so. And that is the whole front portion of the motorcycle. Now we're going to do a quick test to make sure that this wheel is going to be oriented in the right direction with this angle lock. So go ahead and launch. And then you'll know if it's right if this wheel is back here. Otherwise, if you did it wrong, it will probably look something like mine, where you have the wheel out front. So how to fix this, go back, and then go configure the angle lock. When you click on it, you can actually see this indicator of which way it's going to end up pointing. Mine's pointing the wrong direction. So we need to change this from 70 to negative 70. And if your case, if it was already negative 70, then switch it to 70, and it should do the same thing. Then go ahead and configure this bottom compressor. And we need to change this from Canclide on to off and transparent on. And copy that and paste it into this compressor here. Then come around to the front, and we're going to paint each of these motors here yellow. And then we're going to configure each of them to have 0 distance. Copy that and paste it into each one of these yellow compress blocks, just like this. And then go ahead, go to the block section, half blocks, half wedge, rotate it so that it's facing backwards but upside down, and then place it right there and there. Okay, so then go ahead and test that real quick and make sure your motorcycle looks something like this so far. If you see something that looks off, be sure to go back and correct whatever you think the issue may be. Then we're going to come over to this area right over here by the gyro, go to gears, compression, compress block with these settings, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 1 facing that direction. Paint this one yellow, and then go ahead and configure it to have a distance of 0, and configure this motor to have a distance of negative 0.43, which is the same as the others that have that little gap. Then go ahead and paint it with this blue color just for reference. Then we're going to go ahead and place a half block like so, then half wedge up like so, and basically what we're doing is we're just copying over this same piece on this side but mirrored. Then go to the wedges, half wedge, rotate it like so, place it on top, then flip it on its side, place it right there. Then go to half blocks, half block, flip it on its side, place it right there. Then select the half wedge 2, rotate it like so with the wide piece right there sticking out the back, and place it right there. Then select the half wedge, rotate it like so, and fill in that gap right there. So you should have these 3 pieces just like that. Then go to blocks, block, place a block right there. Then go to half blocks, half wedge up, rotate it on its side like so, and then place it right there. Then go to wing panels, delta wing 1 by 1, flip it on its side or upside down like so, and place it right there, just like that. So now these should be mirror images of each other. Double check just to make sure you didn't make any mistakes, and compare it to what you see of mine. And then go ahead and launch just to make sure everything's right. So when you launch, you should see these tiny little gaps in the motorcycle, which is what you want. So when we put in the front suspension and other components, it has room to travel. You'll also notice there's a little gap here and here, and that is exactly what we want. And these panels should all line up here, making this nice shape, just like that. Then we're going to go over here and place go to compression and select angle lock and place it right there, oriented just like that. And then make sure to configure it with these settings of -65 powered on, can collide off, transparent off. And this can be whatever key you want, it doesn't matter as long as you don't press it. And then also make sure while you're in this config menu that this little tick is facing forwards, otherwise switch this to 65 and that should fix the issue, it should flip it. But for me, I need it to be -65 to make it face forwards. Then go to motors, motor 2, you're going to rotate it like so, so the peg is facing up with the plate in the back, and then configure it to have these settings: A backward, D forward, 3 speed, 1000 max torque, 20 max angle, 3 tolerance, servo on, toggle off, inverted off. Then go to suspension, click it, and place it on the front just like that. Then configure it to have these settings: damping 100, stiffness 80, free length 5, and then these two don't matter as much, but I did coils 4, thickness 0.5, and then turn on length limit. Then go to compression, compress block, and place the compress block right here, and then another one behind it like so. Then configure this block to have these settings: -0.25, transparent on, can collide off, powered on. Then configure this one to have the same settings as all the other ones. Then place the compress blocks right here, and here, and configure this compressed block to be negative 0.25, transparent on, can't collide off, powered on. And then configure this one to have all the same settings as all the other ones, which is can't collide off, transparent on, and the rest are default settings. Then go to blocks, cylinders, rod, and place one on the front, just like that. Then we're going to move over here so we can go to cylinders, rod, place it outside with an additional one on each side for the handlebar, and then go to gears, compression, compress block, give it the normal settings we've been giving all the others, and then place them in a chain coming off this suspension piece right here, and then another like so, and then 2 there, and 2 there. And then these 4, all 4 of these will be set to 0 distance. So they won't actually be moving the handlebar, they'll just be holding it in place. But these ones will be moving it, as these 4 here are set to negative 0.5. Then we're going to go to compression, compress blocks, and then place one right under here, and make a chain of 4 coming out from the compress block that is connected to this rod here, like so. Configure this first one to have these settings of negative 0.22, and then all the other settings are basically default. And then the rest, these 3 here, will just have the same settings that our other compress blocks have been having, of transparent on, can't collide off, powered off, and the rest, everything is default settings other than these 2. And then go ahead and paint that one blue. And then we're going to place 2 more compress blocks like that, and then 2 like that. And then configure this one right here to have these settings of negative 0.22 with transparency on and can't collide off. Then go to blocks, cylinders, rod, place a rod on the front just like that. So now this section should look something like this. Got your suspension here, motor here, or sorry, compression block here, compression block with different settings, compression block, compression, 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 compression block. This compression block has different settings. And then these 2, which actually need to be configured to have the same settings as all the rest. And then go ahead and paint this one blue. So if you haven't been able to tell yet, basically the blue ones all have custom settings, the yellow ones are 0 distance, and all the rest have these settings. So make sure that is all correct. Make sure this is what you have. 2 here, 4 here, 2 here, 2 here. Then go to compress blocks, compress block, and then place 2 like so, and then 1 right there. Configure each of these to have the same settings as all the rest, like so. And then select a motor, place it there, and configure it to have all of these settings: S backward, W forward, 50 speed, max torque 1000, and these are all default down here. And then let's paint that to be green, just so we know that is the motor, so we can keep track of it for reference. Then go back to compression, compression block, paste in those default or those usual settings that we use. Place 1 there, then place 2 like that, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and then 1. And then go ahead and paint these 2 yellow, and set them to 0 each, as these ones will not move. Then go ahead and go to the block section, cylinders, cylinder 3x3, rotate it like so, and place it right there. So this yellow compression block is somewhat in the center of it. Then go back to cylinders, scroll down, plate cylinder, and place one on either side in the center of the larger cylinder, just like that. Then go to compression, compress block, paste in these normal settings, place one like so, then 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, creating this sort of staircase of compressed blocks, like so. Then we're going to paint this one yellow and configure it to be 0. Then we're going to place another compressed block coming out of that one like so, another one next to it, one in front of that one, and then 2 going upwards, like so. And then we're going to paint these 2 yellow and make them 0, can collide off, transparent on, paste that over, configure these ones to be our normal settings, like so, and then configure this one over here to have these settings of 0.28, transparent, can collide off. And then let's paint that one blue since it is custom. Then go to blocks, cylinders, rod, rotate it on its side, place it in front of that blue compressor, and then go to balls, tiny half ball, rotate it like so, and place it on the end of that rod. Then go to gears, compression, compress block, place one sideways like that, another one next to it, one in front of that, one facing upwards, one facing downwards onto that, and then one facing inwards like so. Then you're going to paint this one blue and this one yellow. The blue one will have these settings, 0.28, transparent on, can collide off. And the yellow one, the same settings as all the other yellow ones, can collide off, transparent on, 0. Then go to blocks, cylinders, rod, flip it sideways, and place it right next to that blue compressor on top of the other rod right there. Then, just like the other rod, we need to put a tiny half ball on the end of it, rotated like so, right there. And then go to gears, ballast blocks, ballast block, place it right there, and configure it to have a weight or a density of 5. Then we need to configure these 4 up here to have the same settings we've had for most of the other compression blocks, just like that. And then we're going to swing around over here to configure this block to also have those settings, just like that. And then we're going to configure this motor here to be 0 and paint that yellow to indicate that it does not move. Alright, then go ahead, head back here, go to blocks, cylinders, rod, rotate it like that, and place it right on the back like so. Then head over to the front, go to half blocks, half wedge, rotate it just like that, place it there, then rotate it around and place it right there. So now you have one on either side. Alright, so now we're going to test and make sure that the motorcycle is all good. So double check that it looks just like this with all the individual parts. And then after this we will go ahead and paint it and apply all the materials. And then again we can also check and make sure that everything is right, as it should be easier to see that way. So now let's go ahead and paint it. So go to Materials, select Carbon Fiber, Bucket, and then paint the whole thing with carbon fiber. Uncheck the bucket, and go to Color, type in 50, 50, 50, Bucket, paint the whole thing, uncheck, and then we're going to apply some materials. So go ahead and select Metal, apply that to this exhaust pipe, this rim here, this rim here, and then walk over here and apply it to that rim there, this piece here, so both of those rods, the two rods way up there, and each of their tiny half balls attached, just like that. And then we're going to switch back to color, select white, and then we're going to paint the exhaust white, and then all of the rims. All of the rims will be painted white. Like so. Then we're going to paint these pieces gold, so you can just select yellow or type in 255, 2150, paint each of those, and then also paint these pieces up here gold, like so. Then go to Materials again, Fabric, and apply this to this block all the way up here, which should be our ballast block, just like that. So right there, fabric, the wheel fabric, and this rear wheel fabric. Then we're going to apply the default material to the handlebar, leaving its regular color, and then also apply the default material to these two blocks right here, and then also this rear wedge. Then we're going to go to Color, select a red, or type in 200, 0, 0, and paint that rear wedge right there red. Then we're going to move to the front, and we will paint the glass. So select glass, then select that wedge, these two wedges, and that wedge. So those four pieces should all be glass. I'm going to paint them white, like so. And then we're going to go back to Materials, Legacy Glass, and apply that to these side wedges. And if yours are doing this thing that mine are doing, where you can still see a bit of that carbon texture on there, go ahead and go to Materials again, Default, apply that to both of these wedges, and then switch it back to Legacy. And that should fix the issue. See, now mine are all smooth, no more carbon material on them. Then go ahead and just paint those white again. Make sure it's all the same color. Alright, so with that, go ahead and test your motorcycle, and it should look something like this. Double check that everything looks right, and if something seems off, be sure to go back and check. Make sure you didn't set the wrong settings for some compressor, or have the right settings for your springs and everything else. and also make sure no blocks are sticking that shouldn't be. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching, and make sure to join my Discord server if you haven't already, link in description. It is where you can get extra info about anything I'm doing, sneak peeks, and talk with other people that like playing crazy. So make sure to join that, and well, that's all I have for today. See ya!